Hello and welcome to another episode of ADH Tea, the podcast with me, Sarah, Wheelie Mama, intuitive empowerment coach, author, speaker, and disabled mum of three.
And me, Donna, all the things at Unravel Tea. I always listen to your intro there, and I'm like, I should have more words to have after my name.
Yeah, all the things doesn't quite do you justice. We do need to work on that.
There you go. Sarah's just said that she will that she will work on it for me.
I'll rebrand you.
Today we are going to talk about and probably get derailed because that's what we do about ableism and internalized ableism. Actually, we will be taking a wee break over Christmas and New Year. I think a 2 week break, but we will be back at the start of 2025. We would like any feedback at all about any of the episodes. We now have better sound quality. Yay! Thank you for persevering if anybody listened to the earlier episodes. And yes, so we will be back and we're hoping to have a couple of guests as
Yeah.
well, which is exciting.
Yeah, it really is. Looking forward to the 2025 things we've got planned.
Sarah, what is in your cup and what is on your mind?
My cup is mysteriously missing today, which is not a very good start to the podcast, but it just gives a very brief insight into how my life is running at the minute and fundamental things that underpin my life and my whole identity are missing at the moment. So I'm literally winging life right now. So yes, I am thirsty. So thank you for reminding me that I need to actually hydrate myself. What's on my mind? About 10 million and one things right now, not least a very stiff and sore neck because I think I lay silly last night somehow. So I've got a bit of a stiff neck. So yeah, I'm a bit chaotic outwardly and inwardly at the moment, but it's all good. And what about you, Donna? What's in your cup and what's on your mind?
In my cup is a white tea. It is a silver needle white tea from Kilimanjaro,
Mm.
Tanzania, and it's really comforting. I really like white teas for colder weather. I don't know, I just find them really warming, and yeah, I
And
can't
what
get
a
enough of them at the
what a
moment.
beautiful cup, I have to say. Well, I know listeners can't see it, but that is one stunning little cup. It's almost like a glass slash cup slash
Hmm.
work of art, I would say.
Yeah, isn't it just? It's absolutely amazing. I always have, but I had a wonderful stall neighbor at the weekend, and she was was like strange words. She's a ceramicist,
Oh,
and yeah, I got this from her. I think I call it a
incredible.
goblet cup.
Yes, that's a good, very good description. I almost said vase, and then I was like, that doesn't do it
Oh, I suppose
justice
you could use it as a vase if you wanted to.
for a very tiny, tiny bunch of flowers. For a hobbit, maybe, but yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and I love that. Glad I mentioned it now.
And it's so tactile as well.
Yeah, I have to say I love the textures and the weight of a cup. It makes a
Yeah.
big difference to me as well. If a cup's too light, it just doesn't feel as cozy and like
Hmm.
comforting. I need a good weight to the cup.
Yeah, I have a lot of like tea bowls that are just it's stoneware mostly actually that I really
Mm.
like, and it's just got that nice weight to it.
That's another reason why I get a bit discombobulated when I'm drinking things when I'm out, because I have my cup and I have my comfort things that I like.
Mm,
And then when
mm,
I'm out or away from home, it's just not the same. It's just not the experience, the sensory experience that I would want it to be.
hmm
So, on the topic of ableism, I'm really interested, Donna, to hear your take on this because it's not something we've spoken about before.
I've been deliberately avoiding speaking to you about it so that we can talk about it
Mm.
for the first time here. For me, it's like a whole internalized ableism. It's the whole shoulds. All these, you should be able to do this. You know, everybody else is doing this, so why are you not? Why are you not able to do this? And it is a huge aspect of my internal monologue, at least, of a lot of the time why I beat myself up about things. I'm like, everybody else can do this. Why is it causing you so many problems? It is internalized ableism. It is like, well, everybody else is doing this, so why are you not doing this?
Mhm.
Crap, essentially. So yeah, it's interesting because I hadn't even recognized it as ableism before.
Mhm.
And I read an article somewhere, now I cannot remember where it was, about it was around the whole shoulds as well. And I don't like using the word should. And I actually catch myself if I use the word should. I'm like, wait a minute, that is something. Let's unpack that one
Yeah.
because that's not fair
Mhm.
on me in my brain. But yeah.
I love Tony Robbins, who's one of my like I'd say I've got three people, like in terms of I don't want to say the word guru, but there you go, I've just said it. Three people who I really kind of look up to and really admire and love their story and take inspiration from. There's that word that I don't like. But I have definitely changed my life and my outlook and my mindset as a result of listening to him and following him and stuff. But he always says people shouldn't all over themselves, like you're doing nothing to help yourself at all. Obviously the word should in that context can be replaced with another word. Yeah, he always talks about don't shit all over yourself, just do. And it's interesting as well, I've noticed just on the topic of the words that we use and the language we use. If I tell you I will try to do something, you can guarantee it will not happen. If I preface with the word I will try, like I'll try to go to the gym or I'll try to get outside for fresh air, that ain't happening. So just as a friendly something to watch out for. If I say yes, I'll try, take it that it won't happen. But if I say yes, I will do it, it'll happen, or I promise I'll do it. It's gonna
Hmm.
happen. But if I say try, no, it won't.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, and I even pull the kids up on that one if they say yeah, I'll try. You're like, no, you won't. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it now. Like let's do this. And also, who's to say that just because somebody else is doing it, that it's even right for you to do? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and all the whole social media culture and all that. Like, people can pretend that they're
Hmm.
doing something or they like. I don't know if you saw that. Was it on TikTok? So I think it was an Irish some person. I don't know who they were, but they were saying that they were doing all these marathons, and all they were doing was like driving to the thing, taking a 10-second video of themselves, and actually they weren't even running. So
Oh.
don't be fooled by, the perceived
Mm.
things of what people are doing because they mightn't be doing them. And also they're not dealing with your internal world, your physical world. So it's not a fair comparison to compare ourselves with anyone. Again, we can take inspiration from somebody and go, yeah, I want to aspire to do that, or
Mm.
that ignites something in me that makes me want to do something. But don't compare yourself because if we were all supposed to be the same, there'd only be one of us here because we'd only need one person if we were all like identicals. So the whole point of us being different is that we're all going to do different things, aspire to different things, and prioritize different things. It's funny for me with the whole ableism thing. Obviously, having a physical disability, which is much more. It's really interesting because knowing myself how I know myself now, since meeting you and since kind of embracing the whole neurodiverse life, I would say that although my physical disability is more prominent, more obvious, and people might see it as being more of a challenge, it's my internal world and the whole like the whole spicy brain and stuff and the
Mm.
whole turbulent emotions and all those things that I actually struggle with more on a day-to-day basis. But in terms of ableism, it's a word that I resisted and actually react badly towards from a different point of view of what you've just spoken about, because I think in the disabled community it is used almost like a bit of a weapon. Like, oh, that's being ableist. Don't be ableist. Like,
Mm.
and it's again for the able-bodied people or non-disabled people. In my experience, disabled activists bandy the word ableism around like it's as a way to almost shut down the conversation. To me, there's hostility in it.
Okay, so it's kind of like the whole cancel culture thing. As
Yeah,
soon as somebody says
thank
that, that's
you.
it.
Yeah,
You can't argue because
yeah,
that's the only thing that they're going to say back to you. There's
exactly,
no space for discussion. There's no space for
exactly.
growth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Oh.
instead of saying, okay, that jarred me what you've just said, but I'm going to help you to understand and I'm going to give you a perspective that will help you to understand and help you to connect to me better. I'm just going to smack you with the ableist
Hmm.
punch and shut the conversation down. And then
Hmm.
that cost out. And what does that do? That creates then a nervousness or an anxiousness or a tension than with the non-disabled person, where every time they see a disabled person, that's going to be recall and they're going to be scared to even go there, even say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I find the hardest part for me, apart from obviously, like I say, the internal stuff that I struggle with, the hardest part for me is actually proving to people that I'm not this angry disabled person who hates the world and feels like everybody owes me a living because of the damage that my counterparts have done with this aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
hostile attitude to the able community. Like it's I shouldn't even say able because we're all able, but non-disabled. I find that the most frustrating part, and I think it's disabled people, and again, it's not everybody, but the hostile, angry,
Mm.
disabled people don't do themselves any favors by coming out with that attitude and coming out looking for a fight. Because if you come out looking for a fight, you're going to find one in every.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are, what you are. If you come out with a hostile energy, you're going to be met with hostile energy.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's more about educating and opening people's hearts and minds, and you're never going to do that by throwing around
Yeah.
ableist or any other kind of slur. You're just never going to do it.
Yeah. And I suppose with that as well, you're also creating an us and them thing as well. You're othering somebody. You are,
Exactly.
which again, we'll go back to the whole thing of it does not help open up communication. So this person will never learn. And you're right, they're going to be then worried about saying the wrong thing to people.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that's always been my thing. No matter what somebody says to me, it's not what they say, it's the energy that they say it with. So even if somebody is being perceived, like on the surface, what they say is nice,
Mm-hmm.
if there's a sarcastic energy or a patronizing or any kind of negative energy around it, I don't hear the words, I feel the energy. And
Mm-hmm.
same with if someone says something that might appear insensitive or clumsy, or if I know they're saying it from a genuine place of I just want to know, I just want to learn and not being,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll never greet it with hostility or negativity, because it's like you're asking from a good place or you're offering help from a good place.
Yeah.
So
And
even if
just
I don't need the help, I'm not going to go, don't patronize me. I'm going to be like, thank you, it's fine, I've got it, it's
yeah.
okay. I'm never going to be rude about it. It's the energy and the intention that's
Mm-hmm.
way more important to me than the actual words that are said.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Because then if you're able to then sort of educate them a little bit, not obviously not in, when I say that, that sounds like you're going to be super patronizing towards them. That's not what I
No,
mean.
no, no, I get it. Yeah.
Um, but if you're able to sort of treat them with respect actually as well, they're more likely to then interact with other, I want to say like obvious disabilities and like invisibility
Mhm.
disabilities that make more
Yeah.
sense. Is that a
Yeah.
better way of describing it? Yeah, because you get a lot of people who are quite nervous. I've
Mhm.
seen it actually to speak to some folk. And
Mhm.
actually, I am at my stall at the weekend. There was two people, and one of them was in a wheelchair, and they seemed nervous to come up to my stall. And the other person was like in front of them, and when I was speaking to them, I was speaking to both of them because they're both people,
Yes. Mhm. Mhm.
you know, and it actually made me a bit sad to wonder, what they'd experienced before and what made them sort of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like shy away or want to like not
yeah,
be visible. Yeah, yeah, it is a
yeah,
thing, and that's a whole journey to. And I know you and I have spoken about it privately as well, about being willing and knowing that you deserve to take up space. Like it's a
yeah,
whole thing for people in general, I think, or like
mm,
a lot of people. But when you have a physical disability, or when you're seen as being, I don't even know what word to use, but when you are not the norm, that feeling of I'm worthy of taking up space, albeit a little bit more space or a little, that is a whole journey. And it's only very recently that, I want to say recently, like, I mean, 8, 9 years maybe, that I feel like, yeah, you know what? I've earned my place in this earth and I'm not going to hide, or I'm not going to melt into the background to try and ease anybody else's
mm,
nervousness. Like I deserve to live the life I want to live, and however that looks,
hmm
other people, then it's not on me, it's on them. But It is a whole journey, and I actually think I feel like my physical disability is actually easier in a way to overcome than the internal and the neuro side of things, because people make allowances, I guess, in a way for my chair, whereas they don't know what I'm dealing with internally. So
I would like to go back to the whole they support you. But they're like, right, we can see this thing, it's a tangible thing, we know how to do this.
that's
You know,
true.
so
Yeah.
you get the
Mhm.
support, whereas it's more difficult to sort of you need to figure out, not even so much you need to figure it out, but there's a lot of self-discovery in finding
Yeah,
out how you would be best supported with some of the kind of neurological sort of
100%.
things.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's only, I mean, we've spoken about this before with kind of self-advocacy and things like that. I mean,
Mhm.
I probably wouldn't have even known how to do that or even verbalize things like a year
Mhm.
ago.
Mhm.
So it's difficult because also because we haven't really known, but neither of us have known this for very
Mhm.
long. Like
Yeah.
neither of us have known, and like, wait a minute, not everybody has this, not everybody has issues when doing X, Y, or Z.
Mhm.
So it's a journey that we should have probably started when we were children.
Well, I mean, yeah, ideally, but also we didn't know what we didn't know, and
Mm,
it's the same as like realizing that not everybody struggles with the things that
mm,
we struggle with, or not everybody has the same thought patterns as we do and stuff. But also the liberation of I'm not the only one.
hmm.
So it's like a two double-edged sword, because it's like, yeah, this is not just a me thing, there is, but actually not the whole population thinks like this either,
Yeah.
or struggles with it. So it's a real complex journey, but it's one that's really amazing, and actually a really good example, very recent example this week, for the first time. Well, no, last week now, at this point, yeah, last week. I traveled for the first time by myself, took a flight,
Yay!
did all that by myself. And what I realized was it wasn't the physical side of all of that was challenging for me, because I was able to book special assistance at the airport. I was able to do all, so there was a well trodden path, if you like, of like,
Hmm
this happens and this happens and this happens,
hmm
and everybody was there and did their part as they needed to and stuff. For me, the challenging part was having to think 3 steps ahead, and where do I need to be? What time do I need to be there? Where do I need to go? Which direction do I need to take? All of that. It was exhausting,
hmm
like so exhausting. And I was like, it's not. I used to think that it was the physical disability that was the exhausting part. It's not at all. And I really realized my wheelchair does the heavy lifting, literally, in terms of that. So
hmm
the physical deficit, if you like, is taken care of by the chair, but the
The
mental
support.
load, yeah, yeah, exactly. But oh my god, the mental load is something else, and the extra processing power that it took for me mentally to get there in one piece and stuff. Now I was very lucky, because well, lucky, and yeah, we're gonna go with lucky. I was gonna give myself a bit of a kick in the bum there, but I won't. Because my friend met me at the airport to navigate London, so I wasn't like, oh, I knew that was a bridge too far to try and get through London on my own. So he met me at the airport, and he helped me then to get to the physical places where I needed to be and stuff,
Hmm
because navigation is not my superpower at all. Even
Same.
even at home, never mind in the big city. The exhaustion that I felt when I got to the hotel, and I realized it was nothing physical; it was purely mental. The mental load of knowing that I had to get there, and even like, is my wheelchair all going to be in one piece when all the things, but it was all mental,
Hmm
and I really realized how much. And again, we're going back to the topic of support, how much my support network is in my husband, my best friend who normally travels with me. They carry so much of that mental load without even realizing, like, it's nothing to
hmm
them. It's nothing to
hmm
them, because they have the extra processing power available.
hmm
But I didn't. And then when it was all on me, it was just like, oh my God. Like, I was really proud, and it was quite an emotional thing that I got there, but also I was so grateful for them when I realized, like, oh my god, I'm so lucky and so blessed to have these people in my life who bridge that gap for me and take so much off my shoulders, that I just don't have capacity to do.
Hmm.
It's crazy. So yeah, it was a really, really interesting thing. And most people would look at it and say that it was a physical challenge that was the daunting part. Not at all. Not at
Mm.
all. Nowhere close to what the mental load was.
Yeah, that's quite funny because I I think that it's the whole executive function thing, and
Mhm.
I my sense of direction is terrible because I can't deal with that just
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
And I outsource that to my husband, which is fine because he's pretty good with the directions and things.
exactly that.
But I remember this is years ago, 2001 I think it was, and I'd gone away with uni to wherever it was, somewhere in Europe, and I don't tend to wander around by myself because I always get lost.
Yeah, same.
Again, it's the executive function. I just can't.
Yeah,
I'll notice if there's something interesting. So if like, oh look, there's an interesting like graffiti on this wall. I'll remember where that is.
yeah,
Anything else is not. That's really boring, and my brain
same.
just forgets it.
Yeah, same.
But we'd gone somewhere. I think we'd gone to a bar somewhere and met up with a few other classmates. And my friend I'd come with, I was tired and wanted to go back to wherever it was we were staying. And they were like, "Oh yeah, it's just there." And I'm just like, "Where? I
Yeah,
don't know."
yeah.
So obviously this was before Google Maps, this was before phone. I had this tiny little like tourist map which didn't even
Oh,
show me all the
physical
bits that
math.
I
Oh
needed.
my God. No.
And I just ended up wandering around going, I don't know what's happening. But then I randomly met another classmate who'd been out with another group. And I was like, how do I get back? I'm lost.
No. Yeah.
But I didn't even realize that was, part of spicy brain because obviously I didn't know at
Mhm.
the time, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I actually had a lot of shame though, because I turned around to them, I was like, I have no idea. You're the one that's been doing all the directions, but they were just like, what?
Exactly. No, it's definitely a thing. Even when we were like when I was in London and like I say I met my friend at he was literally standing outside the airport doors waiting for me and I was like, oh thank God. But then whenever we got the train and I needed to go to the bathroom before we got on the train. So I went up and I like he was obviously following me and I said, where's the disabled bathroom? And the wee guy behind the desk was like, "Oh, you just to go down there, turn left, turn." And I was like, I was nodding, but once he said, "Go down there and turn left," I was lost. Any more than two directions? No. And I looked at my mate and I was like, "Did you catch that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got it." I was like, thank goodness, because and without him even realizing that I wasn't following, like, but I was like, I got two of those and then I was out. I checked out, like.
You're doing better than I do. I get the first one. I'm just like, right. So once I go down there, I'm going to ask somebody else.
Yeah, that's
Another
it
little bit.
exactly. Yes, yeah, that's it exactly. I'll go find someone else. But it's definitely a thing. And like without one, the confidence to ask again, or
Mm.
two, somebody to do that for you, what chaos would ensue? Like it would just be
You'd be wandering around like me,
yeah,
lost.
yeah, with a very yeah, no. It just is not it's not nice. But then again, having that awareness and like what you said there was amazing. Like you outsource that
Mm,
having the awareness and knowing that I need to do this in order to function as a human being, I need to offload this thing because I just do not have capacity for it. And that's something that I have actually been really open with Danny in recent months about, and especially with Christmas and stuff. I'll say to him, look, Christmas is not my favorite time of year anyway, but I make a massive effort for the kids and stuff.
mm,
But obviously, there's a lot of preparation, a lot of stuff that goes on. Most of it is on me to do because Danny's just not good with decisions. But I'll say to him like, I need your help because I do not have capacity to make this decision. I really need you to give me 10 minutes of your time, sit down and work this out for me because I have zero capacity left. Even that phrase, I have no capacity. He knows. Okay, this isn't messing around. She's at breaking point here. And it's a nice way to be able to where he knows before. Whereas years ago, it probably would have got to a place where I'd be sitting there sobbing and shouting and
mm,
telling him he didn't care, and
mm,
I'm
mm,
doing this on my own. But now just having the words to
mm.
say I can't, I've got nothing left. I can't.
Yeah,
I need your help. It's much healthier for both of us because he understands now
yeah,
that it's
yeah.
not just me being needy and high maintenance. It's actually a cry for help in a way. Like I need your support on this.
That's interesting again with the whord choice you've got there, needy and high maintenance. But I would counter with that in that you need the support, you know? So
Yeah.
that's a little bit of internalized ableism there.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. No, it is. Yeah. And I didn't even think about those words when I said them, but again, it's a negative thing, isn't it?
Hmm.
But like
Hmm. Yep.
we all have needs. Why are we ashamed or hesitant to express our needs?
Hmm. Yeah, it's like, as I said, when I used to go places, I used to secretly outsource, as I said to that friend that was with me, and then when she turned around and was like, "Why do you need this?" I'm like, "Okay, I'll just get lost."
Oh no. Oh
Um,
no.
but because there was shame around it. I mean, everybody else could do it, so why couldn't I? Couldn't I? That was definitely difficult. Even though I obviously didn't know about spicy rain about 10 years ago, type of thing, I have actually been quite honest or open with my husband about it and like the directions thing. So it's a known thing. It's always been known that he needs to do the directions. So I've definitely outsourced it to him, but other people have not really done it. But I think now I would actually be like, look, I can't deal with this. This is just not my executive function is just just ain't there. You need to do this because I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder is it because definitely, I mean, my best friend, she's known me for longer than my husband, so but she knows everything there is to know about me pretty much. She's very on board, let's say. But with Danny, it was a twofold thing, I think, with him because obviously when you meet someone first, you need to build up the trust and things.
Mm,
But
hmm.
then also there was definitely an element of I tried to push him away at the start. And I've kind of let him see almost the worst parts of me, like because I was kind of going, oh, he's gonna lose interest anyway and go away. He's gonna disappear. So I'll just expedite the process by showing him all the ugly bits of me, and like, but actually, then it really had the opposite effect almost because he got to see the things that some couples I think would take years and years and years to reveal about themselves
Mm,
he got to see pretty much within a few weeks, and then it kind of brought us just closer together. And then he often says that like while of course it's challenging sometimes having a partner who has who needs again there's that word a lot. He actually says in a way he feels like it brought us closer together and he feels privileged that I trust him enough. And he says that it did fast track our relationship, but in a good way. And I mean, he has quirks to him as well that needs my support. So, and it cuts both ways, but
hmm.
it can be a challenge for sure. But I think as long as both parties, and whether that's a friendship, whether it's a marriage, whether it's whatever, as long as both parties care enough or invested enough to be open and communicate and say, this is what I need
Hmm.
and I trust you to be the one to do this for me. And I think that's a really nice way to frame it as well, because it's not just like, well, why can't you do this, or why this is maybe vulnerable, and and I trust you to be the person, and I want you to be the person who supports me in that way. That's a much nicer frame of reference than just bloody do this for me because I can't. Like, it's
But it's interesting. Just for listeners, I actually sort of was thinking about this topic about a month ago. I think I mentioned it to you first. And since then, I've been noticing more and more things. And again, with the whole shoulds, I should be able to do this. I should this. You know, I've been noticing this, and actually, I've been kind of trying to reframe it in my own head and going, wait a minute, but this is the reality. Don't put other people's expectations in my brain. Please get out of my brain. They've been in there for too long.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And actually, as well, every time you say to yourself, I should be able to do this, wouldn't it be amazing if you could replace it with, this is not my strong point, but this is?
Mm,
Everybody's not brilliant at everything. So replace something that you feel is a challenge or something that you don't love or something that you really struggle with actually something that you're amazing at. And there is a long list of things that you're amazing at. So I'm quite happy to say I've got crap sense of direction. I can't like I'm really untidy. I'm really this and that, all the things. But I am the one of the most intuitive, compassionate, kind people, and I'm fun. I'm funny. I can turn the most darkest of situations into something to laugh about. And that's nice to be around. So I'll quite happily sacrifice some of the things that I need support with for the things that I really am good at. Because people are like, wow, nobody sees life the way you do, and nobody can laugh in the middle of this. But I can, and I'd rather have that than be super tidy or like a human compass. Like, who wants to be a human compass? No thanks.
I will never be a
Like,
human compass. I've known for a very long time.
yeah. So I'd rather be me than have the skill sets that society feel I should have. You
Yes.
know. So thank you for listening to today's episode of ADHT, the podcast, where we talked about internalized ableism, support, internal dialogue, and our bad sense of direction.
Thank you so much for listening to us. As always, you can catch us on social media, and it's falling out my head. You can find me across all the Unravel Tea socials, and you can find Sarah across her Wheelie Mama socials, mostly TikTok. And yeah, we are also on Apple now, which I can see some of you guys are actually listening to us on. Yay!
Yay.
And yes, we will catch you next time.